McDonald's is the world's biggest restaurant chain, with over 40,000 spots in 120 countries. You know those famous golden arches, they're everywhere. And McDonald's has served a massive 300 billion burgers. But the original McDonald brothers, the guys who started it all, lost control over their company midway through the journey. It all kicked off with just one drive-in restaurant. Then, out of the blue, a shady milkshake salesman came along, stole it all, and turned McDonald's into one of the most successful restaurant conglomerates in the world. But in modern times, the brand is facing other challenges as well. This is the story of McDonald's, a story about an entrepreneur who beat the odds and built a massive empire. And it's also a story of betrayal, scandal, and even scams, all of which we shall reveal today. Meet Maurice James McDonald and Richard James McDonald, founders of McDonald's. They knew they were destined for something big. Known as the McDonald brothers, they were born in Manchester, New Hampshire to Irish and English parents. Their father, Patrick James McDonald, was a hard-working man who spent his entire life supporting his family, working at the G.P. Crafts shoe factory and living paycheck to paycheck. Life for them was ordinary, just like a typical middle-class family. But tragedy was about to strike, changing their lives forever. After 42 years of service, Patrick was let go, after being told he was too old to be useful. This marked a sad end, leaving an unemployed father with his family now broke. Little did they know that this was a defining moment for the McDonald brothers. The dismissal of their father made them realize the importance of taking control of their own futures to avoid such a fate. The elder sibling, Maurice, nicknamed Mac, headed west initially, with Richard, known as Dick and 7 years his junior, following suit in 1926. Life at the start was tough, and they needed something to bear the cost of living. So to pay the rent, the brothers ended up working hard at the Columbia movie studios, hauling sets and working lights during tough shifts on silent film sets. Their $25 a week salaries were barely enough to live decently, and certainly not enough to secure their futures. Unable to break into the more appealing behind-the-scenes roles like producing and directing, Dick and Max saved up to venture into another, less glamorous part of the industry, screening them. In 1930, they bought a theater 20 miles east of Los Angeles in Glendora. Newsreels and double features turned a trip to the cinema into an all-day event. To stop patrons from bringing their own food, the brothers set up a snack bar in the lobby. It seemed like a sure bet. The 750-seat Mission Theater was near City Hall on Foothill Boulevard. The brothers renamed it optimistically, but the Beacon struggled during the lean Depression years, and they were always behind on bills. They even buried some silver in the backyard as a safeguard against bank closures. The only person making money seemed to be the owner of a root beer stand called Wiley's. So after 7 years in business, Dick and Max sold the theater in 1937 and switched from entertainment to food service. But this was unfamiliar territory for the two, and it was clear that the beginning would be filled with challenges. Initially, the brothers kicked off a small-scale startup called the Airdrome, where they sold affordable hamburgers and orange juice. The name Airdrome was inspired by its proximity to the Foothill Flying Field, known as America's friendliest airport. The air traffic brought in curious onlookers, drawn by the possibility of spotting stars like Laurel or Hardy during film shoots. Captivated by the spectacle, satisfied day trippers would then head to the Airdrome to satisfy their basic needs, quenching their thirst and hunger with a fresh orange drink and a hot dog. The venture proved so successful that the brothers could bring their parents from New Hampshire and open 2 more stands. For a moment, the brothers toyed with the idea of a new establishment called the Dimer, where every menu item would cost 10 cents. But they dismissed it as too Depression era. Convinced that the future involved catering to drivers, they believed that the work week would soon shrink to under 4 days, providing Americans with ample leisure time to drive around and stop to eat. They disassembled their stand and ventured farther east to the growing desert city of San Bernardino, or San Berdoo as the locals called it. This long-established trading hub, situated 60 miles outside Los Angeles, became their new destination. Optimism about the future sustained them through numerous rejections from banks, until they finally secured a $5,000 loan from a lender impressed by the downtown San Berdoo location at E Street and 14th. The only collateral they had, besides their dreams, was their worn-out octagonal juice stand, which they had paid $200 to move and set up in its new home. This time, the entrepreneurs proudly displayed their surname on their resurrected establishment, along with the featured menu item, McDonald's Barbecue. This marked the beginning of something significant. Like other roadside diners of its time, McDonald's Barbecue offered a unique experience. Food delivered directly to customers' cars by a team of lively young women known as car hops. These car hops, named for their habit of hopping onto the running board of a car to serve a customer, were adorned in usherette uniforms recycled from the beacon, adding a touch of theater to the service at your window. But there was an issue. The food was good, the portions generous, but things weren't smooth. Long wait times and car hop service created bottlenecks. The brothers dreamt of a faster, more efficient system. In 1948, inspiration struck. The brothers decided to ditch the complexities of barbecue and focused on a simpler menu: hamburgers, cheeseburgers, fries, shakes, and apple pies. They streamlined the kitchen, installing an assembly line for speedy burger production. No more car hops, customers ordered at a self-service counter. They also shortened their name to McDonald's and reopened on December 12, 1948. It was the start of the Golden Arches. The first McDonald's spot saw the creation of a major change: the speedy service system. This new system challenged the usual ways of many restaurants at the time. In most drive-ins, you'd sit in your car, wait for someone to take your order, and get your food on a tray with glass plates and metal silverware. The whole process took a long time, and that's where the McDonald brothers found a chance to do things differently. They decided to focus on being faster when making the food, use disposable packaging, and set up a walk-up service counter to serve as many customers as possible. With the introduction of the innovative Speedy system, the only thing left for the McDonald brothers to do was to grow their restaurant into a big business. And then someone came knocking at their doors. With labor costs cut and revenue reaching $350,000 a year in the early 1950s, the McDonald brothers watched their profits double. They had already opened a few franchises in California and Arizona when a milkshake mixer salesman named Ray Kroc visited San Bernardino in 1954. Initially puzzled about why McDonald's needed 8 of his multi-mixers for just one spot, Kroc finally understood once he saw the operation. Recognizing the business potential, Kroc went from being a salesman to a buyer. He acquired the rights to franchise the brothers' restaurants nationwide and, in 1955, opened his first McDonald's in Des Plaines, Illinois. But the relationship between Kroc and the McDonald brothers turned sour as the energetic salesman clashed with the conservative Yankees over how to run the business. Kroc was frustrated by the requirement that he needed a registered letter from the McDonald's for any changes to the retail concept, a demand the brothers hesitated to grant. "It was almost as though they were hoping I would fail," Kroc wrote in his 1977 biography, Grinding It Out. The gravity of the situation can be gauged from the fact that in 1961, Kroc acquired the company from the McDonald brothers for $2.7 million. Even though the chain was called McDonald's, the face of the restaurant soon became Kroc's. Plaques featuring his likeness adorned the walls of numerous franchises, along with a description highlighting how his vision, persistence, and leadership guided McDonald's from one spot in Des Plaines, Illinois, to the world's community restaurant. In 1962, McDonald's adopted its now famous Golden Arches logo, and the red-haired clown Ronald McDonald made his debut in 1963. McDonald's was smart with its marketing and quick to respond to what customers wanted. They kept trying out new types of hamburgers, and some became hits, while others didn't. The Hula Burger with pineapple and cheese didn't do well, but the Big Mac, introduced in 1968, became an instant hit and is still popular today. In the late 1970s, the burger wars erupted as a fierce competition for dominance in the fast food industry. McDonald's innovative and speedy system became a blueprint for success, prompting other major players such as Burger King and Wendy's to emulate and adapt similar operation models. These fast food giants, inspired by McDonald's efficiency, rapidly expanded their presence and offerings, intensifying the battle for supremacy in the market. The era marked not only the clash of iconic brands, but also the race to define and replicate the winning formula that had catapulted McDonald's to the forefront of the fast food landscape. They all had aggressive advertising and low prices to try to stay in the game, but McDonald's managed to come out on top and survive. For instance, the company played it smartly by expanding its menu variety, streamlining operations for efficiency, and globally growing with a tailored approach to local preferences. On top of that, responding proactively to health concerns, engaging with communities, and prioritizing customer satisfaction further highlighted McDonald's adaptability to changing market trends. But the brothers, who gave their name to the business and pioneered the fast food concept, gradually faded into the background. After selling the business, they retained their original San Bernardino restaurant, now renamed Big M, much to Kroc's annoyance. The golden arches on the marquee were sharpened to create a giant letter M. Seeking revenge, Kroc opened a McDonald's around the block, eventually forcing the brothers out of business. The original McDonald's was demolished in the 1970s, replaced by a nondescript building that housed the San Bernardino Civic Light Opera. But the tale took a new twist in 1998 when Albert Okura, the founder of the Juan Pollo restaurant chain, purchased the site of the first McDonald's. Okura relocated his company's headquarters to this location and transformed it into an unofficial McDonald's museum, preserving the historical significance of the birthplace of the fast food giant. Nevertheless, this was now the Kroc's era instead of the McDonald's, and the future held more interesting things to come. In the post-1990s era, McDonald's undertook a strategic global expansion, venturing into regions where its presence was previously non-existent, particularly in countries with communist regimes and certain parts of Asia. This expansion was marked by a deliberate effort to establish a foothold in diverse international markets. In 1990, McDonald's initiated its foray into China, opening the first restaurant in Shenzhen. It was a victory moment because when it opened, it became the largest McDonald's on Earth, featuring 700 seats, 29 cash registers, and serving over 40,000 customers on its opening day. Since then, the subsequent growth has been monumental, with the current tally exceeding 3,000 McDonald's establishments across China. Enter the era of pop culture and globalization, and McDonald's continues to be an ever-present force, seamlessly weaving itself into the fabric of contemporary society. Think back to that unforgettable scene in Pulp Fiction, where Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta engage in a conversation about hamburgers. McDonald's, with its unmistakable golden arches, has become a cinematic icon, adding a touch of quirky charm or intensifying dramatic tension on the silver screen for decades. The influence of McDonald's extends beyond cinema, infiltrating the realm of music. From the mischievous jingle "I'm Lovin' It" that has become a cultural earworm, to Travis Scott's collaboration resulting in the Cactus Jack meal, McDonald's has established partnerships with musicians, elevating its presence in popular culture. Entire albums have been inspired by the allure of McDonald's, cementing its status as not just a fast food giant, but a cultural phenomenon. Consider the cultural hysteria sparked by BTS's limited edition meal in 2021, showcasing the brand's ability to captivate and resonate with diverse audiences globally. The essence of McDonald's is not confined to its menu. It adapts to local tastes, demonstrating a keen awareness of cultural nuances. In India, savor a Makaloo Tiki burger, a manifestation of McDonald's ability to cater to specific regional preferences. Meanwhile, in Japan, the ebi filet shrimp has become a beloved hit, illustrating the brand's commitment to incorporating local flavors and ensuring its global relevance. But the Golden Arches haven't always shown squeaky clean. McDonald's has faced a steady stream of controversies, from greasy lawsuits to McCoffee meltdowns. Remember back in the 90s? The fries weren't quite vegetarian as advertised, landing the chain in a sticky legal situation. It seems beef flavoring snuck into the recipe, causing an uproar among veggie burger fans. Then came the pink slime exposé, revealing a less than appetizing filler in their beef patties. Consumers weren't loving it, and trust took a major hit. Stirring up a big debate was the McDonald's hot coffee case, where the argument heated up over corporate responsibility versus frivolous lawsuits. Despite the injured lady just wanting McDonald's to pay her medical bills for spilling super hot coffee, the jury didn't buy it. McDonald's went all out, trying to make her look bad with a big PR campaign. Still, the jury ended up giving her millions, making people talk about whether big companies should be more careful or if some lawsuits are just about getting money for no good reason. But it wasn't just food that drew fire. McDonald's faced accusations of unfair labor practices, with employees alleging low wages, poor working conditions, and even sexual harassment. Franchise owners, particularly Black entrepreneurs, claimed they were steered towards struggling locations, hindering their success. In reply to these concerns, McDonald's have repeatedly said they're working hard to make things better. They have promised to treat everyone fairly by giving fair pay, making the workplace safe, and offering equal opportunities for all workers and franchise owners. The Big Mac's global ambitions weren't immune to scrutiny either. Antitrust watchdogs investigated the burger giant for allegedly wielding its monopoly muscles against competitors and suppliers. The battle royal over burger dominance continues, with regulators keeping a close eye on the Golden Arches market share. Beyond lawsuits and legal tangles, McDonald's faced ethical questions. Some people were upset about how McDonald's was hurting the environment with too much waste and cutting down trees for cows. Others said the food wasn't healthy, especially for kids. Do you remember that movie Super Size Me by Morgan Spurlock? It made a lot of people think about being healthier and convinced McDonald's to stop selling those really big meals. Also, there were funny lawsuits where people sued McDonald's, saying it made them gain weight, and they actually won. But McDonald's didn't give up. They changed their menus to have better and plant-based options. They started telling customers more about where their food comes from. They even made sure their employees were happy and took care of diversity issues. But nowadays, things are getting tougher. Inflation is like a super hot grill, making the dollar menu a thing of the past. If they raise prices, they might lose customers. But if they don't, it eats into their profits. It's like walking a tightrope with inflation. And the effects of the pandemic are still hanging around. Lockdowns and not enough workers made things difficult. And drive-thrus became super important. Delivery apps were helpful, but they took a chunk out of the money McDonald's makes. Trying to adjust to new ways people eat and changing safety rules is a struggle that intensifies with each passing year. Even some McDonald's owners, especially in the US, are feeling the heat. Prices going up, people wanting more options, and lots of competition have pushed some to a tough spot. Bankruptcy. It's a clear sign that even big and strong McDonald's can have a hard time. On top of that, The Israel-Palestine war has sparked a new controversy for McDonald's. In Israel, a local McDonald's owner has been giving discounts to soldiers and security forces since the October 7 attack by Hamas. McDonald's Israel has already provided 100,000 free meals in response. However, many McDonald's operators in the area distanced themselves from this, saying they don't share ownership with the Israeli franchise. In countries like Kuwait and Pakistan, franchise groups released statements to clarify their separation from the Israeli operator. There's a boycott, divestment, sanctions, BDS, movement against McDonald's, especially in Muslim countries supporting Palestine, which has led to a drop in McDonald's sales. Interestingly, a 2008 study from the University of Minnesota found that big companies like McDonald's during past Arab-Israel conflicts used strategies like making donations and highlighting their impact on the local economy to calm down calls for boycotts. This also pushed them to adapt their menu, introducing items like the McFalafel in 2001. Nevertheless, despite this most recent controversy, like in previous times, McDonald's finds a way to stay on top, remaining one of the most successful restaurant brands in the world. The story of the McDonald brothers reminds me of another entrepreneur's journey, Levi Strauss. You can watch his journey to building Levi's to the brand it is today right here.